Welcome to krfilms Entertainment Channel. Your presence in this channel means a lot. Currently, I'm about to explain an Indian movie called The Dangal. The protagonist of the movie is Mahavir Singh, a former Indian wrestler who gave up on wrestling due to financial problems. The movie begins with Mahavir Singh watching the 1988 Seoul Olympics. The broadcast shows that India's role in wrestling is very poor. He complains about how the Indian boys don't get proper training, which results to their poor performance. Hakan Dar, a former state-level wrestling champion, stands beside him. They get into a small argument and they both challenge each other to a wrestling match in the middle of the office. Hakan Dar is confident due to his body size as soon as the fight begins. Mahavir quickly knocks Hakan back to the ground and wins after 2 more rounds of the match. Mahavir tells Hakan Dar that he didn't lose to any man, but to a national wrestling champion. When Mahavir won the national championship a few years ago, he was motivated to go to the international level and win the gold medal for his country. He was hardly making any money from the sport and had no other way to support his family. He decided to take an office job. He believes that one day his future sons will fulfill his dream for him. He stares at the medals he won, hoping his wife Di will give birth to a son, but she gave birth to a girl named Geeta. He receives unwanted advice from the locals on how to conceive a son, including suggestions to try on Sunday mornings into religious act regularly. After a year of using every method, the couple is blessed with the birth of their second daughter Beata. Years passed by and they were blessed with 2 more girls. Mahavir finally gives up and locks the medals and pictures in a trunk. The good are now grown-up teenager who are terrified of their strict father. Mahavir returns home one evening to find his neighbors standing in front of his house. They blame Geeta in but Beat for beating their 2 sons who are just the ages as the girls. Mahavir is shocked to see the condition of the boys whose faces are now bruised. Mahavir asked them how good and beat the 2 boys and girls happily demonstrate under cousin encore. He realizes that the girls are just as good as a son after observing their natural wrestling talent. He accuses himself for wanting a boy when his daughters were right in front of him the entire time. Mahavir informs Di at night that he wants to train his daughters to wrestle. Di, who has always lived in a society where girls only did the household, is terrified of the idea of her daughters acting like males. And she is concerned about whether or not they would ever get married if they were to pursue careers as wrestlers. If by the end of the year his daughters have not made any progress, Mahavir promises to give up on them. He asks her for a year to prove his daughter's capabilities. He didn't beat the following morning at about 5. They slowly step outdoors and are shocked to see their beloved street vendors selling their favorite dessert Golgappa. Surprised, they ask why he is feeding them. Mahavir says that they will not be allowed to do so starting that day, thus this is their final chance to consume street foods or oily foods. The girls are afraid to say no to their father, said they eat as much as they can. He then instructed them to begin their training by running a number of miles. The girls complained that their clothing makes it difficult for them to run faster. Mahavir forces his daughters to wear shorts and t-shirts that he takes from his nephew. When Geeta and Beat are seen running around with their legs uncovered, the entire neighborhood is shocked. Starting from that day, Mahavir wakes up the girls at dawn and makes them do a lot of vigorous training that they are not used to. He has strict on them and he doesn't allow them to rest when they are tired. Even after complaining, they still have to do as their father says. When the owner of the local wrestling arena doesn't allow girls to train in his ring, Mahavir makes his own ring at the middle of the farm where nobody can see them as they train. After a few days of training, he realizes that the girls must fight with men in order to be more powerful than them. Encore, his nephew, is the only man who qualifies to train with the girls. When they enter in the ring for a match, he defeats them both at a blink of an eye, but their failure over time helps show the girls' progress. Mahavir thinks the girls need me to get enough protein despite the fact of his financial situation, and the fact that he is married to a vegetarian prevent him from doing so. Nevertheless, Mahavir tries to negotiate with the butcher to get meat for a lower price in exchange of promotion for the store when the girls win the national championship. He cooks the meat with the help of Onko and feeds into his trainees. Didn't beat her feet up with the training, so one night they approach their father and complain about their studies being affected and how their hair ruined due to the training in the dirt. Mahavir thinks the part about studies can be compromised, but the hair is a real problem. The girls were relieved. Little did they know that their father wants to get rid of their hair. So the very next morning he calls the barber to his house to cut all of their hair. The girls cry and beg him, but he does listen. The neighbors gossip about them because they now look like boys. Both sisters are very angry on Mahavir since he is being very strict and cruel on them. So they start doing little tricks to escape training. They change the alarm setting in Mahavir's clock, break the light bulb that lights the ring, also get a pretend she hurt her leg, and so on. One day they escape training and plan to attend a relative's wedding. They request their mother not to tell it to their father. While the wedding, they have fun and eat whatever they want. Suddenly their father comes out of nowhere and slaps on Ka for being a bad influence on the girls. Later on the same day, the bride on Ka and the sisters are all in the same room. Didn't Beta angry about their father and wish they had never been born due to the things they are made to do. The 14-year-old bride, who is being forcefully went off by her father, stops them. She asks them who they prefer between her parents and it. She tells them they both are very lucky that Mahavir is thinking about their career and life and not getting them married at such an early age, unlike her family is doing. The bride's words helps the sisters understand that even though their father is brutally training them, he ultimately is doing it for them. The following day, Mahavir wakes up to see his daughters are not in their room. He leaves for the fields only to find them training really hard. The few days later, Geeta manages to defeat Onko. Mahavir began seeking a more powerful opponent for her as a result of her progress. He then travels to a nearby village where a local wrestling competition is taking place along with a beaten Onko. That since the participants of the competition are only guys, the organizer think it is a sin to let the girls fight them. However, when told a match between a boy and girl will invite more audience, he agrees. Nearly the entire village shows up on the day of the fight to watch a girl fight, and everyone is certain that she will lose horribly. When told to choose amongst four competitors, Geeta chooses the most strong boy to wrestle. Contrary to what the villagers believed, she fights extremely well, and as the battle progresses, the crowd begins to applaud for Geeta. Even though she eventually loses, she receives more prize money than the boy. She apologizes to her father for losing the fight, but he's proud of her. Due to the lose, Geeta is not able to sleep. She is eager for the next match. The girls take part in several wrestling matches after that. It goes against men who are stronger than her and is able to win against them. Also, she manages to win against the guy who she lost to at a first match. Their popularity starts increasing and the butcher uses their pictures to advertise his products as promised. Mahavir is thrilled because his daughter's medals are now displayed on the wall that once used to hold his. Both sisters quickly developed into unstoppable wrestlers who won every match. Get us prepared to wrestle in the sub-junior national level, and in order to give her enough time to prepare, Mahavir quit his job because his employer refused to give him 2 months leave. Additionally, Geeta in Beat It had been engaging in local level mud wrestling up until this point. Since they will now be competing on a mat, it is necessary for him to change your preparation, so he goes to the national board to request funding to establish a mat. But he gets no assistance. Mahavir's brother advises him to make a wrestling that using sleeping match. The following day he make a wrestling that on his terrorists to teach teacher the game. Finally the day of the competition reaches. The day is underweight for her category, however she takes part in the competition and wins the gold medal easily due to the fact that she used to win against men double her size. She yet again wins a gold medal in the junior national levels. Time passes quickly and Geeta soon participates in the senior national level championships where she successfully wins and receives the title of national level champion. Mahavir is proud of his daughter and upon her return home a crowd breathes out with dancing and singing. The entire village, which had earlier criticized and gossiped about Mahavir, is now proud and cheering for Geeta. Mahavir allows needed to relax for the day and that they will soon begin training for the international gold medal, but he forgets that for Geeta to represent India at the international level, she will need to receive training in a recognized facility and Patti Allah from a different coach. Mahavir permits her to leave despite his concern that a new coach won't identify her abilities, qualities, and weak points. The following day, they arrive at the training center and meet the new coach Promit. He is an arrogant man who believes his way of teaching is superior than everyone else's. When Promise shouts at Geeta for doing a warm-up exercise in the wrong way, Mahavir starts to talk to him but he becomes annoyed and tells him to go home. His attitude makes Mahavir worried for his daughter. Before starting the training, Promit instructs the girls to erase from their mind all of the incorrect diet routines and fighting tactics they had previously learnt. He begins teaching the girls his supposedly superior fighting methods, entirely changing good strategy for approaching a fight. Didi is good at attacking but he instructs her to play defense thinking it will benefit her. Geeta gets carried away by her friends who watch television, eat spicy and royally foods, talk to boys and engage in other activities that she was otherwise not permitted to do at home. Geeta also rose her hair longer at the same time. Will be to works hard with her father learning everything Geeta was taught to get ready for the national level championship. After few months, Dieter returns with gift for her sisters. She disrespects her father thinking that she is well trained than him. Later that day, when the sisters are training with girls from their neighborhood, the two shows off the new skills on new coaches teaching her. Seeing that Good is very firmly attached to her new fighting methods, Mahavir gives her the opportunity to prove that his fighting techniques is outdated. The father and daughter fight against one another. Needed doesn't show mercy to her father who is losing his breath. Although Mahavir competes fiercely, he loses because he is weakened. All with a lot of pride in her, she leaves her father on the ground later but beat it, tells her sister that what she did was not good, but Geeta still proud of herself. The following day she leaves for Patti Allah without talking to her father. Mahavir is really upset to an extent of not focusing on his day-to-day life. The next scene shows Geeta flying to Sydney for the World Championship. The place for the national level championship in New Delhi on the same day that Get is competing for the international championship. Dia wins the national level championship and is required to enroll in the training academy and Patti Allah. While Geeta loses the match of her dream that Get have earned her the gold medal for her country. Unlike Geeta, the beat of has to adhere to her father's training before the coach. One night Geeta is questioned by Bidi on why she doesn't seem upset about losing the international title, yet she used to lack sleep after losing a local match. They said she can win in the upcoming match. The month later another international match is held in Moscow, and Geeta loses for the second time. In the international matches held in Jakarta in Istanbul, she achieved the same outcome. Her coach refuses to acknowledge that his training for her was ineffective, telling her that she is not fit for the international championships. Needed is told by Beat to make peace with her father when she is discouraged by her continuous failure, and she does so while sobbing uncontrollably on the phone. Mahavir forgives her and promises to help her when neither becomes her old self by cutting her hair down again. She has to compete in the 19th Commonwealth match in 6 months' time, where the participants are the best players around the world. The coach advises her to reduce weight and participate in the 51 kg weight category rather than in her usual 55 kg weight category. After hearing this, Mahavir and Encore relocate the Patti LA close to the training center so that he may help her compete for the 55 kg category. He instructs Needed to follow over coach's instructions throughout the training session. But Mahavir and his daughters begin working out separately using their old routine of waking up at 5 a.m. before their formal training begins. The girls secretly spend 2 hours in the morning training with their father. They do good for a few weeks, but Promit eventually realizes what is going on when it doesn't lose weight even after being on a strict diet. He filed a complaint to the head of the sports board. Mahavir here is summoned to the institution and he has warned not to interfere with the girls' practice sessions or they will be disqualified. Mahavir begs them to lead his daughters participate, vowing never to return to the institution. Mahavir then begins coaching Get over the phone by watching all of her international competing games video recordings and pointing out her weaknesses. Mahavir your instructor on how to improve using his methods. She wins at the Patio LA National Trials and is chosen for the Commonwealth match. When the championship starts, she has to fight Melissa from Wales. In the first 2 rounds of the competition, Get It performs poorly. Promit encourages her to concentrate on defending, but Mahavir shouts at her to attack rather than to defend. She wins after applying her father's instruction and scored several points. She competes against Naomi from Nigeria in the semi-finals. Similar to the previous match, Get It takes her father's advice and scores a number of points, but the match finishes in a draw. In the additional round, she does the unthinkable by getting free of Naomi's gripping, wins the match. In a press conference, the coach tries to take all the credit, but to give statement that it is all her father's hard work. Mahavir is simultaneously watching the second semi-final match, in which Australian Angelina Watson easily defeats her opponent. Watson has previously faced it twice and defeated her both times, so she is confident that she will obviously win the finals. She won't be an easy opponent, but Mahavir trusts his daughter to give it her all. He encourages her by telling her that she isn't just fighting Angelina, she's fighting everyone who believes that girls belong in the kitchen. Mahavir and Encore arrive at the venue on the day of the finals, both nervous and excited. At the same time, a man hired by Promise tricks Mahavir into entering a storeroom and locks him inside. From it wants to claim all the credit while also exacting revenge on Mahavir. Without success, Mahavir attempts to break the door. When the match began, Geeta wins the first round with 5 points. She searches the crowd for her father but is unable to locate him. She performs well in the second round and has a 2-point lead. With a counter-attack in the final round, Angeline changes the flow of the game. They only get a point, while she receives 5. With only 9 seconds left, Ida remembers a special 5-pointer technique that Mahavir taught her and uses it to win the match. She wants to run to her dad to thank him for the great work he did and to celebrate with him, but she can't find him. She is awarded the medal in the winning nation's national anthem as played. When Mahavir heard the Indian anthem, he realized that his daughter had finally won. He sheds tears of joy. Suddenly, a janitor opens the door and he runs toward his daughters. He hugs them and expresses how proud he is. Moreover, the media completely ignore Promit and focused on father and daughters. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Movie Retail for more videos like this.